mann som vägrar bruka snuttelur.
Hello world, good morning internets, good evening internets. This is Shauna with Disrupt Apps again, and today I want to make another video and say how I am fighting to help keep the internet free and private. And I am just one woman out here on a massive crusade, so I'm doing what I can to fight and keep the internet open, free, and private. And so I've been working on a project that I've called Project Amorphic Mesh. And basically, it's going to be a peer-to-peer browsing and file sharing system that is going to be its own standalone system that is, if you're familiar with HTTPS and HTTP protocols and tunneling, I'm basically making from scratch an entire file browsing system so that we, the people, can browse files privately with our own software. And I just threw together this little presentation this morning because I know I have a longer presentation, but people don't have the attention spans to sit through a 30-minute presentation, so I'll try and keep this short to show you what I am doing on my own time, unpaid, to keep the internet free and private. So basically here, a private peer-to-peer file browsing system software that is 100% independently developed with no big tech associations or control, whose purpose is to allow end users to regain control over their privacy, data, escape AI data harvesting, escape the bot epidemic, and the general trend of destroying internet freedom and privacy. I want Disrupt Apps, LLC, my company, and all my projects to be of, by, and for the people. And this is a huge, bodacious goal, but I don't care. I am compelled to do this. So I have a full project overview on my YouTube channel, and let me go ahead and pull that up here. And you can see here is the title screen, and I'll put the link in the below. So if you really want to go in depth to see what I'm doing, and I mean, I laid it out like a serious enterprise-grade project of all the requirements. So yeah, that's for those who want a more in-depth, but I'll just go over a high-level overview here. So I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not building anything new or revolutionary, but rather I'm building something simplistic so that end users can actually participate in keeping the internet free and actually learn how to become masters of their own digital fates, like how to run their own servers and code and stuff like that. I am avoiding proprietary technologies as best as I can, hence why I'm coding in C++. And I'm not using anything from like Google or Microsoft or any of those companies. I am building this 100% from scratch in order to get a clean start. Because if you've worked in dev and software, you know that a lot of times you're dealing with band-aids and band-aids and band-aids and just crappy ass code. This is 100% from scratch. And I also want to do it from scratch so I can teach people how to do this. I am building my own parsing and rendering engine, and I will make it so well documented that other people can understand how it works, because I want people to know how to build their own system. I am building a new and simple style markup document like HTML. Like if you're familiar with web technologies, it'll use a similar thing to like HTML or XML, and it's going to radically simplify development, especially for this system that I'm building out. You know, if you do web development, you could have things like Ajax or PHP or you know, the MongoDB and all that kind of stuff. Well, this whole thing that I'm making it simple. I've done web development and I've seen a way that things could be simplified, and this is what I want to do. I'm designing it so that you don't need a quote-unquote web server software. You know, like for instance, if you do local development XAMPP or Apache or Nginx or whatever, you don't need to download that. You just download the software that I'm creating, and you also don't need a physical server. You can basically, you'll probably need to use a decent powered laptop or desktop, but you don't need a huge expensive server to do this. And I want you to think back in the day of like things like Emu and Kazaa, where you had that file sharing system. So again, I'm not building anything new. Stuff like this has been done, but what I'm doing is making it simpler, and I'm going to open source it and show people how to do this. So I'm designing it to be directly peer-to-peer and I'll be using a tunneling protocol, and I had to figure out what tunneling protocol I'll be using. But really quick, let me show you this quick little diagram that I made this morning with Photoshop. And so basically, here's what it's going to be. I just really simplified. I have 4 end users, 4 clients out there with their laptops and with their desktops, right? And so the way it's going to be private software with a tunneling protocol, and it's similar to a VPN, but it's not a VPN service. But you're basically like, if you're user A, you can directly connect to user D and browse files. If you're user B, you can directly connect to user C and look at the web browsing files. I don't want to say web browsing, but it's similar to the web browsing that we're all familiar with. And same thing, B to A, C to D, and it'll be over the internet, and it'll be a private network. I mean, you're going to have to know somebody to connect to somebody. So unlike having the internet now that has a DNS system, it's going to be a private network. And getting back here, it'll be encrypted. I plan to use some mixture of RSA and AES encryption, and I have my own encryption system that I'm developing too, so I'll throw that in there. And I'm doing this because I'm tired of seeing the internet and people having to deal with assaults on people's freedom and privacy on the internet. And I feel that people have a right to communicate freely without having to age verify. And we're seeing this crackdown all over the internet right now. And they've been coming after the internet again and again, and we push back, but it's just with certain people in power now, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And again, going back up here at the top, we need to regain control over our privacy, our data. We need to get away from this AI harvesting, data harvesting that's stealing your ideas and your thoughts. And we need to get away from this bot crap. And if you run your own server, you understand how much of a problem that is. And frankly, I'm doing this because I hate seeing how this digital dystopia is being played out. And I am here to fight techno-authoritarianism. So getting more into the more technical sides of things, yeah. So basically, I've been coding here. Recently, I've been doing a lot of content, so I haven't made a lot of progress on my coding, but basically, I've got the UI here that will be your browser, right? This looks like a typical browser with all your stuff up here at the top. But right now, I've been working on basically the parsing engine. And right now, you can see, right now I'm doing my development and testing. And you can see here on the left all these tags. If you've worked with HTML and web development, you can understand what's going on here. And basically, I'm just making sure that the tags I have get found by my parsing engine that I'm building. And then here it's just, here's the actual file that's being rendered out. And then, so yeah. So I've got the rendering, I've got it. I'm making progress on the rendering engine, and I've been able to pull out the data that I'm looking for. And to show you what's going on of how this is rendered out, like if you're familiar with HTML and how that works, the system that I'm designing is similar to HTML or XML. And basically, you've got tags here, and it has all these different informations here. And right now, this is in development, so don't try and copy this code and do this thing on your own, because eventually it'll get tweaked and stuff like that when I figure things out. But it's basically like an HTML or XML type of system. And basically what it does is this browser is taking this file here that I created, and I have a parsing engine that is going to parse all this out, and then eventually it'll start making content like pictures and text and things like that. And yeah, this is it. I mean, this is what I'm doing. I'm not screwing around. This is happening. And eventually I have to cut down on how much content I'm making on YouTube, because I need to focus on the code. I need to get this done. But again, I'm out here. I'm doing the work. I'm just one lone person out here trying to make change, instead of sitting there complaining and bitching about how things suck and, oh, the internet's getting attacked and our privacy. Well, I'm doing something about it. And I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to show the world that we can do something. And please, 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 Support your independent web developers, support your independent software engineers, software developers, your small scale tech companies. We are out here. We are willing to fight the good fight to keep the internet free, fair, and private. And once again, this is Shauna Brooks with Disrupt Apps LLC, and I look forward to more great content. Bye-bye.